If you or someone you know has diabetes, you may have built up an extra supply of test strips and lancets. That's where we come in. We'll buy the supplies that you don't need and resell them to those in need to prevent waste. Help us make diabetes management more affordable. Visit us at teststripswithaz.com.
All right, we have Will Morris on the show. He returns to action on Friday night at Fury FC 40. He's going to take on Le'Ville Simpson in the co-main event for the FFC lightweight title in Humble, Texas. Great to have the blue chip here for the first time. How are you, sir?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. I appreciate you jumping on so close to the fight. Like, I know you're probably cutting weight and everything. So I was told that this was a short notice fight for you. How quickly did this one come together?
It came together within probably 3 weeks, within a month. Maybe actually a little over a month, somewhere around there. Yeah, it was quick. I've said this a couple times now. You know, the fight was quick, but it wasn't something that was short notice for me. You know, I've been training nonstop for a while now, and I've been ready for, you know, quite some time. I was supposed to fight already a couple months back, and just ran into a little hand problem to the point where, you know, coaches, manager, everyone told me that I need to, you know, not take this fight right now. But I've been training since then, so I've been ready for the past probably 8 months. So that's why, I mean, you know, the fight itself is last minute, but the fight for me is, you know, it's something that, you know, if you keep yourself in shape, you can, you know, nothing is last minute to you. So that's kind of how it is for me right now.
Yeah, it's not like you're taking this fight on like 3 days notice. So you've had like a month or so to prepare. Plus you've been getting ready for the last 8 months, so it's not really that short notice.
Yeah. So it was really trying to, you know, just find the fight. You know, whether it was, and we put ourselves in a position to where whether it was, you know, a 3-day notice fight or whether it's, you know, a couple months, either way, let's put ourselves in a position to take anything. So yeah, that's where we are. So I'm excited.
I have to say, for, you know, a day before weigh-ins and 48 hours for a fight, you're in relatively good spirits here. How is the weight cut been going? You don't seem like you're grumpy at all, so things must be going okay.
No, I'm good. I keep myself busy throughout the day. You know, I've been working since, you know, 5 a.m. You know, I keep myself moving. But the weight cut's good. I've never been one to really struggle with dropping weight. You know, back in college, I played football, and it was really hard for me to gain weight. You know, I hated food, and I had to be about 190, 195. And so it's always been a lot harder for me to gain weight than it is for me to lose. So I haven't even slowed down on the eating, you know, just staying constantly moving all day with work and then, you know, training in between. You know, my life revolves around the gym. You know, I'm in the gym at 5 a.m., whether I'm training people or training myself. And so I'm constantly moving. And I think that helps with my body type. I think God kind of gifted me with, you know, some leeway. Because like I said, I've been eating good. And I weighed last night at 163. You know, so it's, as long as I'm working, you know, and changing just not what I'm doing in the gym as far as training goes, but just changing what I'm wearing. Really, that kind of takes care of itself. So it's the hard weight cut part doesn't really happen for me until maybe about the last 4 or 5 pounds. So I'll cut the rest this afternoon, and then I'll probably go to sleep at 158. And that's, you know, kind of after having something to eat, and usually I wake up at 155, 156, and then I'll eat again, and then just, you know, either go to the bathroom within 10 minutes with my fast metabolism, or, you know, just run the rest off. So it's never something that I've had to sauna for. And I think a lot of my friends and fellow fighters want to slap me in the face for that.
I was just gonna say.
Yeah. But taking the fight at 185 against Schilling was a lot harder just to get to that window than it would be for me to cut weight. So that it keeps me in good spirits, you know, being blessed with a fortunate body type.
Yeah, you're one of those people that us normal people just can't stand. You can do what you do, and keep the weight off. All of us have to work hard and count calories. You're just sitting there, just eating whatever you want, and you're fine.
I try not to flaunt it, but when people see me eating, around the gym, they're like, "What are you doing?" And then they see me on the scale, they instantly go, "Yeah, I hate you." So
let's touch on the Schilling fight quickly, because you mentioned it, and obviously you getting up to 185, especially with the way you're talking about your metabolism, that must have been a nightmare for you. So I guess I have a couple questions there. One, what led you to taking that fight, jumping up there to 185, especially when it's so hard for you to put on that kind of size and weight? And two, you have to be able to take away something from that experience. What were you able to take away from that fight, even though it didn't go your way?
Yeah, I don't regret that fight at all. That's still one of the best accomplishments that I'll hold up there in my whole career. But I was getting ready for that same Bellator event, and I think we were having trouble, with, an opponent issues. And, my manager came to me and said, unless you want to fight Joe Schilling at 185, and we're about 10 days out, and, not everyone knows Schilling, and so instantly I think the fighter in me and the martial artist in me wasn't willing to let go of that opportunity. If you have an opportunity to fight a world champion, I think you take that fight. And I had all the confidence in the world that I can beat anyone, and fighters fight. A weight class shouldn't dictate my success in this sport. The education level should. So that's why I took the fight. And what I took from it was a lot. Our first engagement, I feel just a lightning rod pain go from the top of my ear, the bottom of my ear, down all the way through my fingertips. So I knew something was wrong, and I tried to take him down. I didn't even know what was happening with my shoulder, and all of a sudden he's got me by the throat, just wailing elbows, and there was very little time to sit back and think, is this really happening right now? And the only thing that goes through your mind is protocol, and me and my sensei had trained this. What happens if something like this happens? And so that's instantly what went into my brain is protocol. I was able to get back up to my feet, and from there, there was never a point in my mind where I thought I was going to lose. I lost this round, most likely, but let's get through the round and then win rounds, 2 and 3. And to have that in your brain, to kind of step back and realize that's what was going on in your head after the fight, it goes one of two ways. You either fold, or not only do you keep pushing, but you keep pushing for the win. And to find that, especially against a world champion, and especially against someone that much heavier than me, to realize it in that situation and at that level in those lights, there's nothing bad I can take away from that. I didn't want the fight to end, but it did, and I tried whatever I could to make sure that it didn't. But I do believe, now that this much time and has passed, and I kind of realized it, whenever I was getting staples in my head afterwards. But I realized that my coach had done the right thing. He's looking after his fighter, but I also did the right thing in my eyes, and didn't want to be let out of that cage yet. And to find all that out, 2 weight classes up against the former world champion, a legend in the sport, I now take that confidence and bring it back to where I belong, the lightweight division. So I felt like a superhero after having to go through that. And I take that back to my weight, and like I said, my confidence is higher than it's ever been. being battle tested like that shows you kind of what doesn't show the world. It might show the world, but that's meaningless. It shows yourself, you know, when hell comes knocking on your door, are you going to answer or are you going to hide? And it's good to know, you know, between me and myself that, you know, there's no giving up, you know, so like I said, to realize that at that level against that person, you know, it's made me realize the animal I am. And, you know, I'm very excited, very confident. And, you know, I don't regret that decision at all, and I never will. That'll still be one of my favorite fights ever.
So you realize this sort of extra animal instinct that you have after experiencing that with Joe, and now it's been over a year since we've seen you compete. So that must have been tough, having all that extra energy, all those learning lessons that you can't really unleash them on anybody. Now you get to do so on Friday. What has this year been like for you, knowing that, you know, I know you had the hand injury, you're supposed to fight in September, that didn't happen, but what has this year been like for you not having a fight to this point?
Oh, it's been crazy, you know, but in a good way. You know, I fixed a lot of the things in my life that I should have fixed a long time ago. You know, I never had a problem with what goes on inside the cage. You know, I've always been very disciplined. I've always put value in education, but I had to fix what was going on outside the ring. And, you know, over this last year, not fighting has kind of helped me refocus. I've had to rechange. I've changed teams, and I've switched jobs, switched gyms, where I'm working, you know, and started living the more disciplined life that I need to accomplish my goal. And, you know, there's only ever been one goal, and that's number one in the world. And so I've put myself mentally, educationally, and physically now in a position to do so. And this entire time, I've also been thinking in the back of my mind when everyone else is going to be able to see this. You know, so I've been very antsy the past, you know, year, you know, but just focusing on myself and, you know, doing the tiny things that I always struggled with are now things that are second nature to me, you know. So the best part of me, you know, is going to show Friday. And I think a year is worth the wait. I don't suggest not watching the fight and falling asleep. So, yeah.
So where are you training now?
So now my coach is Kru Bob Perez, and I'm at Main Street Boxing Gym. Other boxing coach, strength and conditioning coach, Chris Hernandez, and then I'm also at Gracie Baja in West Chase with Professor Upiano. So complete different. I went from having one sensei my whole career, you know, to now, you know, multiple sources of knowledge, guidance. And, you know, I have nothing to knock on, you know, who I was with, but, you know, I think everyone knew that it was time, you know, for us to go our separate ways. So now I'm, you know, I've got different coaches. Kru Bob is the head coach, and it's a very adult relationship. I describe it as Tom Brady and the quarterback's coach. You know, it's, you know, we both feed off each other's good energy. And my training partners are top 10 in the world boxers. You know, Darwin Price, Ammo, all these different guys that are at Main Street that, you know, you don't, if anyone's ever been around a boxing gym, especially, you know, a true dog-eat-dog boxing gym like what Main Street is, you know, you better have headgear and a damn mouthpiece, and you better be dialed in every time you walk in and spar, because if not, you're going to get knocked out. So training with them all over the past year has really kept me dialed in and, you know, forced to improve every day. Because if you don't, like I said, you're going to wake up, you know, in the gym not knowing what just happened. So that's been my life the past year, you know, and the changes are great. I'm working at 2 different gyms, Gracie Baja being one of them. You know, started my own business that just revolves around different branches of the fitness industry. And so I have a lot of stuff to keep me busy throughout the day and keep me disciplined, and it feeds into my fight career, so I move all day until, my last training session. That way I go to bed at 9 a.m. so I can wake up at 4 and do it again. So that's the situation that's going on now.
Are you losing your mind sitting in a car talking to me right now and not being able to move around?
Yeah. I am. I'm antsy. Yeah, because I still got a big day ahead of me. I still got clients. I still got, meetings, stuff to keep me busy. Anytime I stay at home, I think, it's just downtime to either do nothing or to, it drives you'll drive yourself crazy, this close to a fight. So I stay moving. I stay talking to people. I stay active, and it helps my mood.
So now you're going to fight Le'Ville Simpson, and he's fought for some big regional promotions around the country. He's fought for LFA and Titan FC and some other ones. He's coming off a split decision win in LFA back in May. With him training in Colorado, you being a Texas guy, did you know much about him when you got this fight? Did it even matter?
No, it didn't. And, that has nothing to do, all respect to him and his team. I know he's a good fighter. But no, I didn't know much. I still don't know a lot. I've never been one to really watch film on people. I always focus on myself and what I'm doing. I never try and predict the situation that's going to happen. Whatever's in front of me, that's what I'm prepared to do. If you want to box, we'll box. You want to kickbox, we'll kickbox. You want to wrestle, we'll wrestle. Jiu-jitsu. So it's never mattered to me where any fight goes. I've put myself in a position over the past 8 years to be able to compete at a high level in every individual martial art, and so I start watching film maybe a couple hours before the fight, and even then it's really only like 4 or 5 minutes maybe, and I just let the fight play out. I'm confident wherever it goes. Even when I fought Schilling, I didn't watch any film on him, because it's you start to look and search for certain things that you see, and then all of a sudden, they're one step ahead of you when they fake what you think is coming and then get hit with something else. So I've always been one to focus on whatever's going on, in the gym at the time, rather than focus on what will happen Friday night.
I feel like that's more of the norm now in this sport because it moves so fast. Things change so quickly in this sport,
I just make sure I'm dialed in and make sure if there's little things that we need to tweak, then we'll tweak it, and that's it. I'm very comfortable inside the cage now. I'm not one to, get overly excited. I'm very calm. My heart rate's probably the same in the fight as it is right now. I'm very coherent. I can hear my coach without him having to yell. So with that level of, I guess with that level of a sense of, calm, however you want to say that, it gives me confidence to not have to watch film and to just really focus on what I do, because being coherent inside the cage when that cage door locks is more important than anything. So as long as I'm coherent and I understand what's going on and I start to recognize, if that's a jab or if that's a fake jab or a feint, or, once I start to get my timing, then it doesn't matter what you do.
I wanted to ask you because, you mentioned work with Kru Bob. You talk about the different places that you're working and training and, especially the boxing gym and all those places. You're getting a ton of physical information being put at you. You got to be on your game mentally as well. But when you work with a guy like Kru Bob, you have a lot of wisdom, a lot of experience, a lot of knowledge in the room because you get a lot of different people from different backgrounds and different skill sets coming in there. How much has that benefited you just not only on a physical sense, but just picking up the wisdom and knowledge from everybody around those guys?
Right. Oh, it's awesome because, with Kru Bob comes the entire source and coaching staff that, surrounds him. We've got multiple elite level boxing coaches, Muay Thai coaches, in that gym at one time, and I'm getting a lot of information. The good thing, I'm able to handle it because of the maturity I already have, as a fighter. I'm able to understand the tips that are, that are being given to me, and I'm able to implement them. The next sparring session, I can actually coherently work on that thing and make it work and understand why it failed and all that. So it's great having all these different, sources of knowledge. And Kru Bob is the one. I tell every fighter that I've ever met this. Every fighter needs that, almost that head baseball MLB manager, that big pappy. Everyone needs that person to. Because, again, you have all these different branches of knowledge, but you do need someone to hone it all in and blend it all together. He'll delegate, certain boxing tactics to a boxing coach or certain wrestling strategies to my wrestling coach. And he's the one that brings it all in and develops a game plan. So it's great. I couldn't ask for a better situation.
I know you're not a big prediction guy. You're not going to say, I'm going to knock this guy out in the first round or anything like that. Right. That's just not the kind of guy you are. Obviously, the goal is to win the fight and get that shiny gold belt wrapped around your waist. But outside of just the win itself, what other goals do you have in mind, and sort of what do you want to accomplish on Friday night besides just getting a win?
That not only am I, you look at fighters and you see they have potential. You look at fighters and say, yeah, he'll be in the UFC or he'll be wherever soon. And then you look at fighters and you think, all right, he'll have a world championship around his waist one day. That's the kind of fighter I am. I'm not one that's just gonna, make it to any particular promotion and try and survive. I'm coming for a number one in the world position ranking, and that's it. And that's not a hope and a dream. I'm at the point athletically, intelligently to actually prove that. And so my goal is, after this fight, there shouldn't be a question in anyone's mind. All right, he's right. That blue chip athlete that comes around every now and then, that's what will be accomplished.
If all goes well on Friday, everything goes the way you hope it does. You haven't been very active this year for a lot of different reasons, but you got a year with your new team under your belt. You're finally going to be able to put a stamp on 2019, at least have some momentum heading into 2020. We don't want to look too far past Friday night, but what kinds of things are you looking forward to doing and accomplishing in 2020? Hopefully there's a full slew of fights in front of you to make up for lost time here, but what kinds of things you're looking at?
Yeah, and again, I don't want to look too far ahead either. Like I said, that the goal is only one goal, but I do want to fight a lot this year. I don't plan on taking much of a break. If I'm healthy, I want to fight again quick. I want to predict. I would love to have anywhere from 5 to 6 fights in 2020. So that's what I predict to happen. I want to stay active. I love, I just freaking, an athlete my whole life. I need that. I need that antsiness, that pressure to survive and to be myself. So without it, I'm just sitting here. So I want to stay active. I'm going to stay active. I'm going to stay healthy, and I'm going to stay smart enough to do so.
Well, you don't have to sit for much longer, Will, because we're going to let you go. I know you got a lot of things going on. You got clients to train and all that good stuff. Will Morris fights Le'Ville Simpson for the FFC lightweight title this Friday night at FFC 40. It's great to have you on the show and back in action, Will. Appreciate the time. Before we let you go, let the folks know where they can find and follow you on the web, social media, any shout-outs, anything else you want to get off your chest. The floor is yours.
Yeah, man. Again, shout out first to my opponent. Just, much respect. Martial artist to martial artist, much respect. Can't wait. Very excited. I need to thank Kru Bob Perez, Main Street Boxing Gym in general, my boxing coach, Chris Hernandez, Gracie Baja West Chase, my jiu-jitsu coach, Upiano, my wrestling coach, Servando, all the people, all the fighters that helped me at Maine, at Gracie, Savary's Fight Fit, my family over there, my parents for having to deal with me, all family and friends and all that. But, just thanks for everyone that's, sitting here keeping me positive for the past year, your time will come, so big shout out to everyone in Houston, man, honestly. But thanks a lot. I appreciate the time. You can follow me on Instagram it's just at Blue Chip Boxing. That's the name of my company. That's my name. If my mom would let me legally change my middle name, I would, but she would kill me, so I won't. But that's where you can find me. Thanks, guys. I really appreciate you having me on the show, and yeah, I gotta get back to work.
There you go, man. All the best to you on Friday night. I appreciate it.
Thank you.